The more you chased, the more they ran. The more you loved, the more they hurt. And in the end, the only thing they ever truly gave you was pain. That's not poetry. That's your reality. Because they didn't give you consistency. They didn't give you clarity. They didn't give you love. They gave you confusion, silence, mixed signals, betrayal, and every time you wiped your own tears and stayed, they gave you just enough attention to keep you there, not because they valued you, but because they knew you did. Let's not lie to ourselves anymore, folks. This isn't a sad love story. This is a story of emotional manipulation, of someone who saw your worth and banked on you not seeing it yourself. They didn't not know how to love. No, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew how much you gave. They knew how much you cared. And they still gave you less than bare minimum. And maybe you finally fucking left. Or maybe they walked away after bleeding you dry, after draining your loyalty, disrespecting your heart, and taking your love for granted like it was their birthright. Either way, one thing is now true. You are gone. And your absence, it's not quiet, it's earth-shattering. Before we go any further, if you've ever been rejected, cheated on, used or lied to by someone who had every chance to love you right, hit the like button right now. Subscribe if you've finally stopped begging for crumbs. If you've started building your peace, this is your moment. Stay with me. Hey folks, imagine this. You're the lighthouse. You stood through every storm, through every night they disappeared. You lit the path for someone who never learned how to sail toward you, but always expected your light to be shining. And one day, the light goes out. Not out of spite, out of exhaustion. And now, they're lost at sea, screaming into the darkness they created. That's what they did. They took your steady presence and treated it like garbage. They saw how you never gave up on them, and they weaponized it. You were a doormat in their emotional home. They wiped off their insecurities on you, blamed you for their own dysfunction, and made you question yourself every time they couldn't show up. You wanted love. They wanted control. You gave connection. They gave performance. And now the mask they wore is cracking because the mirror is gone. They're not broken because you left. They're broken because you didn't explain it this time. There was no closure, no paragraph, no dramatic fight. Just a sudden, bone-deep stillness that makes them question if they ever actually had you in the first place. You were not too emotional. You were not too much. You were just too real for someone who only knew how to perform. And now they're drowning in the silence you left behind, because they finally realize you were the only thing real in their life. And guess what? That silence, that stillness, that is your power now. It's the echo that rings in their head at 2 a.m. It's the reason they check your page, even though they pretend not to care. It's the reason every new replacement falls flat. Because you were the light, and now they're stuck in shadows of their own making. Let them cry behind their ego. Let them laugh louder online. Let them pretend they're happier now. You know the truth. They lost you. And now they're living with the truth they thought they could avoid forever. You were the best thing they never fought for. You're not chasing anymore. You're not waiting. You're not proving your worth to someone who couldn't even hold space for your love. You're healing. You're rising. You're becoming the version of yourself they'll never have access to again. And that's not revenge. That's rebirth. If you've ever been used, ignored, replaced, or made to feel invisible, drop this in the comments right now. I don't chase. Say it loud. Say it like a vow. Say it for your old self who deserved better. Hit like, smash subscribe, and stay with me. Because we're not just healing anymore, we're becoming untouchable. Number 1. The pattern of disrespect. Why repetition isn't love. People don't throw away what they value. They throw away what they think will always come back. That's the sickness they carried in their heart when they had you, and that's the lie you swallowed over and over like it was medicine. But let's call it what it really was: poison. You kept showing up, kept giving, kept proving, and they kept rejecting you, not because you weren't enough, not because your love was flawed, but because your effort was too damn consistent. Let's rip the mask off this right now. They didn't leave because you were too much. They left because you were always there, because you were too easy to access, too predictable. You became a routine, kind, giving, loving, but expected. And when people start expecting your loyalty instead of earning it, they stop valuing you. They stop seeing you, and eventually, they start treating you like emotional trash. Imagine this with me, folks. You're a candle in a room they never bothered to appreciate. Day and night, you lit that space with your love. You warmed it, softened it, but they never noticed the flame. They only noticed when it finally burned out. And now, they're scrambling in the dark, tripping over their own silence, wondering why it suddenly feels so cold. But you already know why. You were their emotional home, their safe place, their constant, and they vandalized it, spat on it, slammed doors in it, and when the roof finally collapsed from the weight of their neglect, they had the nerve to act surprised. But you saw the cracks long before. You just didn't want to believe you'd built your heart in the wrong place. Let me ask you something real. How many times did they reject you before it started to feel normal? How many times did you swallow your pride, bury your pain, and stay silent just to keep the peace with someone who kept destroying yours? And you want to know what's even more twisted? They knew, oh, they knew, every ignored text, every breadcrumb, every little act of pulling away. They were testing you, testing to see how far you'd go to keep being chosen. And every time you stayed, every time you forgave them with open arms and tired eyes, you taught them it was okay to treat you like a doormat, like a placeholder, like disposable love. This wasn't love. This was psychological warfare dressed in moments of almost, moments that gave you just enough hope to stay addicted to the potential, but never enough truth to feel secure. It was always just out of reach, wasn't it? Like you were running after a bus that never planned to stop. Let's be brutally honest, because you need to hear this. They didn't love you. They loved the control. They loved the power of knowing they could ignore you, disrespect you, even walk away, and you'd still come back. They loved knowing that no matter how many times they slammed the door, you'd still knock. Why? Why did you do it? Why did you stay? Because somewhere deep inside, you started confusing rejection with challenge. You started mistaking coldness for mystery. You started believing the lie that if you could just be enough, they'd finally see you, that if you could love harder, give more, forgive deeper, they'd wake up. But they didn't wake up. And now you're here, sitting in the wreckage of all the love you gave to someone who only knew how to break it. And I'm here to tell you, they didn't reject you because you were too much. They rejected you because they were never enough to deserve you. You've been teaching them how to disrespect you by refusing to walk away. You thought being ride or die was loyalty. No, it was self-abandonment. You threw yourself under the bus over and over just to protect the feelings of someone who couldn't even protect your peace. That's why they lost respect. That's why they pulled away. Because when you're always available, you stop being a person and start becoming a convenience. Stoic wisdom says, indifference to what does not serve you is the path to inner strength. That means stop begging to be kept by someone who never had the courage to choose you. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who benefit from you doubting it. The harsh truth? You became predictable. And not in a stable, loving, safe kind of way. You became the one they didn't fear losing. And in love, people only value what they fear losing. That's just how the psychology works. If they assume you'll always stay, they stop chasing. If they believe they can hurt you and still have access to you, they will keep hurting you. It's not your fault for loving deeply. It's your responsibility now, though, to stop handing your love to people who treat it like spare change. You want to rise? Then rise through the resistance, because the moment you pull away, they'll feel it. And suddenly, the same effort they mocked will become the ghost that haunts them. They'll remember every time you texted first, every time you forgave them, every time you showed up when they didn't even call, and they'll hate themselves for it. But not because you told them anything, because you stopped telling them everything. And when you stop repeating the same cycle, when you finally make silence your boundary and peace your standard, that's when the pattern breaks. That's when they lose the comfort of mistreating you. That's when they realize they lost something real, something rare, something they will never find again. So if this punched you in the chest, if you know deep down you've been loving people who only used you as emotional shelter, drop this in the comments right now. I break the pattern. Say it like a war cry. Say it for the version of you who kept crawling back. Say it for the version of you who won't be disrespected again. Press like, subscribe, show them, show yourself, show the world, and stay with me, because what's coming next, it's going to show you how to never be mistaken for trash again. Number 2, why you walking away wasn't a reaction, it was a revelation. It wasn't drama, it wasn't bitterness, it was finally seeing them for who they were, and you for who you're never going to be again. That's what walking away truly was. Not rage, not noise, not some emotional breakdown they could twist into a guilt trip later. No, my friends, this wasn't an outburst. This was a revelation, a moment of brutal clarity. The lights came on, and suddenly you could see it all. The disrespect, the manipulation, the fake apologies, the half-love, the way they only showed up when you started pulling away. It all snapped into focus. And that was the day you stopped reacting and started remembering who the hell you are. You walking away wasn't a move on the chessboard. It was flipping the entire table and walking out of the room. It wasn't about proving anything to them. It was about proving something to yourself, that your piece is worth more than their attention, that your value doesn't need their recognition to exist. That silence can be the loudest scream when you finally let it speak for you. Hey folks, imagine this. You're standing at a door wide open. You've held it open for so long, your arms ache. You kept hoping, praying they'd step in and stay. But every time, they hovered at the edge, took a step in, maybe two, and then turned around. And what did you do? You kept that door open anyway. You let the cold air in. You let your warmth escape. You let your soul shiver, just to give them one more chance to choose you. But then something changed. Not all at once, but gradually, painfully, honestly. You didn't slam that door. You just stepped back. You let it stay open. And when they walked away again, like they always do, you didn't chase after. You didn't scream down the hallway, begging them to come back. You just never followed. And that's what broke them. You see, they were expecting another breakdown, another monologue, another paragraph text at 2 a.m., full of over-explaining and pleading and emotional CPR for a connection that they flatlined a long time ago. They were waiting for the crazy reaction so they could point the finger at you and avoid facing themselves. But it never came. What they got instead? Silence, stillness, absence, peace. And let me tell you something. Peace terrifies people who create chaos to feel important, because they know, deep down, this time is different. This wasn't about making them jealous. This wasn't about posting thirst traps or pretending to be unbothered. This wasn't about proving a damn thing. This was about you waking up one morning and realizing, I'm done bleeding to keep someone else warm. You didn't walk away to hurt them. You walked away to heal yourself. You didn't disappear because you didn't care. You disappeared because you finally realized that you're the one who always cared too much. And caring like that for someone who can't match you, that's not strength. That's slow suicide. Stop letting people call your healing drama. Stop letting manipulators paint your peace as petty. They had a chance to be chosen every single day, and they blew it. You gave them access to your heart, your mind, your time, your soul, and they treated it like spare change. But not anymore, not now, not ever again. Because what you did when you chose silence, when you chose absence, when you chose peace, was revolutionary. It's the quietest rebellion, the strongest stand, the moment when you finally became more loyal to your future than your past. And don't let anyone tell you walking away was easy. Hell no, it was war. A war between who you were and who you're becoming. A war between the addict in you that loved their crumbs and the warrior in you that finally demanded a feast. You didn't walk away with ease. You walked away with scars, with tears, with shaking hands. But you still walked. That's courage. That's growth. That's the shift. So if they try to twist your absence into bitterness, let them. If they pretend your silence was petty, let them. Because your glow will say what your words never have to. And one day they'll look back and realize you were never trying to hurt them. You were just trying to love yourself for the first time in forever. And by the time they understand that, it'll be too late. Because you don't slam doors anymore. You build walls. You raise standards. You reclaim your throne. If this hit deep, if you know what it means to walk away quietly, powerfully, without explanation, drop this in the comments right now. This was my revelation. Say it for the version of you who thought silence meant weakness. Say it for the new you who now knows. Silence means strength. Number 3, their ego needed you to stay. Your absence starves it. They didn't need your love. They needed your attention, because without it, their ego starves to death. That's the truth they'll never admit. They didn't keep you around because they cherished you. They kept you around because you fed them, fed their image, fed their power, fed the illusion that they were worth something, because you were still there. Let's not sugarcoat it, folks. Some people don't want love. They want control. They want an emotional punching bag they can toss around when they're bored, insecure, or empty inside. And you were the reliable source, the mirror, the constant reminder that no matter how badly they treated you, someone would still care. Someone would still be there. You. But not anymore. And now, they're starving. Because what they didn't expect was your absence to be so deafening. They didn't expect the silence to be so loud, so confronting, so final. They didn't expect the mirror to disappear. And now they're stuck, face to face with themselves for the first time. No distraction, no emotional fix, just the cold, brutal truth. They were never the strong one. You were. Hey folks, imagine this. A leech doesn't survive without a host. And once the host detaches, the leech withers. That's their ego now. Desperate, dried out, still performing online like they're unbothered. Laughing louder, posting more, living their best life. But it's not joy, it's panic in disguise. It's their pride gasping for attention. Because what they really want isn't you back. It's your reaction, your message, your slip-up. That one story you post that gives them hope you still care. That's the trap. They don't miss you. They miss the power they had when you needed them. Don't fall for the illusion, my friends. Ego doesn't grieve love. It grieves the loss of control. They're checking your stories, refreshing your page, reading into every song you post. But not because they're healing, because they're hurting, because now they're not the main character in your life anymore. And they hate that. You were their audience, their mirror, their emotional crutch. But you pulled the plug. And now their reflection. It's warped, it's ugly, it's empty, because you were the only thing real about them. They didn't just lose a person, they lost the illusion. They're realizing they weren't confident, they were validated, they weren't loved, they were tolerated, propped up by someone who kept seeing their best when they showed their worst. And now, in the stillness, they finally see themselves clearly. And it terrifies them. Let me ask you something. How many times did they act like they didn't need you, like they could do better, like they were doing you a favor by staying in your life? How many times did they shrug off your presence like it was background noise? But now that you're gone, now that the show is over, who are they performing for? That's what makes your absence powerful, because you didn't have to block them, you didn't have to post a rant, you didn't even have to tell them you left. You just stopped feeding their ego. And they've been starving ever since. They thought your attention was a guarantee. They thought you'd always care, always check in, always chase. And now you've given them something they can't handle. Nothing. Silence doesn't soothe the ego. It exposes it. And right now, your silence is holding up a mirror to their soul, and all they see is everything they pretended not to be. Cowardly, weak, emotionally lazy, a performer with no audience left to clap, no one left to convince. And that's worse than heartbreak. That's ego death. So don't fall for the bait. Don't respond. Don't react. Don't let their posts, their stories, their sudden changes pull you back in, because all of it is a trap, designed not to reconnect, but to reclaim power. They don't miss you. They miss who they were when you still believed in them. And now that you're gone, they're nothing but a reflection with no light to bounce off. If you feel this truth in your bones, if you know what it's like to finally stop feeding someone's ego while starving your own soul, drop this in the comments. My silence is their mirror. Say it for the version of you who gave too much. Say it for the version of you who no longer reacts to crumbs. Number 4, how regret begins, the moment they realize you're not waiting. Do not waste time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. And that's exactly what you did. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped trying to prove your worth to someone who never deserved to hold it. You stopped arguing with their version of you, the watered-down, twisted image they projected to avoid facing their own guilt. You stopped defending your heart to someone who kept treating it like garbage, and instead, you became silent, still, unreachable, and that's when it began. Regret doesn't hit when you walk away, my friends. It hits when they turn around and realize you're not behind them anymore. No text, no final message, no dramatic exit, just stillness. The kind of silence that suffocates their pride, the kind that speaks louder than any goodbye ever could. Because they thought it was a phase, they thought you were bluffing, they thought if they gave you enough space, you'd come crawling back like always. But days passed, then weeks, then months, and every hour that went by with no message from you, their stomach sank a little deeper. See, they weren't afraid of losing you, they were afraid of losing the version of you who waited, the one who forgave too quickly, the one who checked their page, reached out after every fight, stayed up refreshing the chat bubble, hoping for a sign. That version made them feel powerful. But when you disappeared, not in anger, but in evolution, they had no idea how to handle it. Hey folks, imagine this. They're sitting on their phone one night, fully expecting a message, maybe not a full essay, just a sign, a story, a quote, anything to let them know you're still emotionally available. But there's nothing. No breadcrumbs, no lifeline, just stillness. And in that stillness, something terrifying creeps in. Maybe they really lost you. Not lost you like you're upset and cooling off. Not lost you like you'll text next week after you calm down. No, lost you like you've healed past them. Lost you like you don't care anymore. And that's when regret digs in. Because they didn't just lose someone who loved them, they lost someone who saw them, someone who believed in them when they didn't believe in themselves, someone who held on through the lies, the gaslighting, the ghosting, the disrespect, the manipulation, and still tried to love them whole. You were the one person they didn't deserve, but always expected. And now you're gone. And nothing hits harder than realizing the emotional punching bag they thought would always be there has turned into a wall they can't get through. And what does their ego do now? Panic. They scroll your feed like a lifeline, searching for proof you still feel something. They overanalyze your silence like it's a message they can decode. They imagine you with someone else, and it burns. Not because they want you back, but because they can't get you back. They lost access. And that, my friends, is where regret really lives. Not in the moment they lost you, but in the moment they realized they'd never get the old you again. That you won't be replying to the "Hey stranger" text. That you won't be baited by their passive-aggressive story. That your heart isn't up for auction anymore. You've outgrown the version of yourself that needed their validation. You've stepped into something sacred, something rare, something unreachable. That's what evolution does. It doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, it just walks. Quietly, powerfully, permanently. You're not punishing them with silence, you're protecting your peace. And let's be honest, they didn't think this day would come. They thought you'd always be in orbit, revolving around their hot and cold energy. They thought they could hit pause on you and press play whenever they were lonely. But now, you're not a pause button, you're gone. And the moment they realized that, regret became their new obsession. They'll never tell you. Pride won't let them. But every time they reach for their phone and don't see your name, something in them dies. Not because they miss being loved, because they miss being seen. They miss the safety of knowing someone like you existed and loved them anyway. But you don't love them anymore. You love yourself, and that's what kills them. If you've ever had someone treat your loyalty like trash, and now they're stuck watching you thrive from a distance they can't cross, drop this in the comments. I'm not waiting anymore. Say it like a door slamming shut. Say it for your past self who sat up crying while they slept peacefully. Say it for your future self who will never wait for bare minimum love again. Number 5. You were the sanctuary. They burned it, thinking you'd rebuild it. Some people burn the bridge thinking they'll still be able to swim back to you when it's convenient. But what they didn't realize, my friends, is that you weren't just the bridge. You were the sanctuary, the safe place, the shelter, the steady, the one space in this chaotic, heartless world where they could be broken, disrespectful, inconsistent, and still be loved, still be seen, still be accepted, until they pushed too far, until they set fire to the very thing that kept them warm. They thought they could cheat, lie, ghost you for days, disrespect your loyalty, play the "I'm not ready" game, make you feel like you were too much for asking for the bare minimum, and still walk right back in whenever they felt like it. They thought your kindness was a lifetime pass. They thought you were built to wait for them. But now, that version of you is dead. And you didn't kill them with revenge, with rage, with games. You killed them with growth, with silence, with your absence, with your healing. And the fact that you haven't said a word since, That's the eulogy. Imagine this, folks. They walked into your heart like it was a 5-star hotel, full access, all-inclusive, unlimited check-ins. You served them loyalty, comfort, forgiveness, warmth. And what did they do? They trashed the room, left it a mess, slammed the door, then tried to come back like nothing happened. But here's the shift. You don't clean up after them anymore. You don't rebuild the sanctuary they burned to the ground. You don't relight the candles they blew out. You don't re-invite someone who only knocked on your door when it was convenient for them. You were the sanctuary, the peace, the softness in a world full of empty noise. And they destroyed it with their games, their silence, their laziness, their pride. And now they're out in the cold, wondering why the door won't open anymore. You were the one person they thought would never change. That's the mistake they all make. They confuse your patience with weakness, your kindness with naivety, your love with obedience. But now they know you're not the same. You don't even live at that emotional address anymore, and there's no forwarding invitation, no way back in. Let me tell you what they're feeling right now, but we'll never say they regret everything. Not just because they lost you, but because they lost the one space where they could show up empty and still be held. They lost the person who made excuses for their immaturity, who saw the broken little child behind their ego, who poured in love when they gave back scraps. And now that space? Gone. There's no more reassurance, no more check-ins, no more paragraphs explaining what they refused to listen to, no more energy spilled trying to fix what they broke with their own hands. They thought you'd always rebuild, always be soft, always let them back in. But even temples close their doors, even sanctuaries fall when they're not respected. And here's the part that burns them quietly every night. They realize now you weren't clingy, you were consistent, you weren't dramatic, you were expressive, you weren't too emotional, you were just deeply human. And they couldn't handle that, so they mocked it until they lost it. They laughed at the very love they now crave. They disrespected the very comfort they now miss. And now, they're watching from outside the gates, pretending they're fine, pretending they're happy, posting fake joy, filtered smiles, and moved-on quotes they barely understand. But deep down, they are starving, spiritually empty, emotionally dried out, because the well they kept drinking from is now bone dry. And here's what they can't accept. You will never rebuild what they burned. Not because you hate them, but because you finally love yourself more than the idea of fixing them. So let them stay out there in the wilderness they created. Let them ache. Let them drown in the silence they thought you'd never give. Let them knock and knock and knock until they realize there's no coming back. If this shook something inside you, if you've ever been someone's emotional home only to be abandoned and disrespected, drop this in the comments right now. I was the sanctuary. Say it for your past self who kept unlocking the door. Say it for your present self who finally turned the key from the inside. Say it for the future you who will never again be a safe place for someone dangerous. Number 6, your detachment is their lesson and it hurts. Your detachment isn't revenge, it's education. Because while they laughed, ghosted, lied, breadcrumbed, disappeared, came back, and played with your heart like it was some toy they could pick up and drop at will, you were watching, learning, hurting, yes, but evolving. You weren't just sitting in pain, you were studying it. And now, you've detached. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped bleeding for someone who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. Let's be clear, emotional detachment is not apathy. It's not coldness, it's mastery. You still feel everything. You still remember the nights you begged God to change their heart. You still remember the sick feeling in your stomach when they ignored your texts, the shaky hands trying to make sense of why love had to feel like abandonment. You remember it all. But now, you just don't let it control you, and that's what terrifies them, because they knew how to handle the version of you that over-explained, over-gave, over-loved, the version that broke down just to keep them standing. But this version, the quiet version, the version who doesn't flinch, doesn't reply, doesn't chase, they don't know what to do with this you. Hey folks, imagine this. They're used to having the power in the room. Your energy kept them inflated. Your attention kept their ego fed. Your vulnerability made them feel big. But now the lights are off. The show's over. The spotlight's gone. And for the first time, they're sitting alone in the darkness of everything they avoided feeling. Because your detachment has become their mirror, and it's showing them the ugliest version of themselves. See, they thought your silence was a phase, that you'd be back, that it was just a tantrum or another emotional wave they could wait out. But days turned to weeks, weeks into months, and now your peace, your absence, it's teaching them the lesson they were too arrogant to learn while they had you. You don't get unlimited access to someone you treated like an option. You gave and gave and gave, and every time they pulled away, you held tighter. Every time they ghosted, you blamed yourself. Every time they showed up with half effort, you showed up with everything. And now they want that version of you back. Too late. Because your detachment is a door that doesn't slam, it disappears. They didn't even hear it close, but now they're locked out, and every attempt to reach you falls flat. Because this time, you're not performing. You're not reacting. You're not throwing emotional lifelines to someone who watched you drown and blamed you for being deep. Let them feel it. Let them sit in the uncertainty they built for you. Let them spiral in the confusion they used as a weapon against your peace. Let them lose sleep, wondering what you're thinking, if you've moved on, if you ever even cared. Because that's exactly what they made you feel. Helpless, lost, emotionally homeless. They turned love into a guessing game. Now they can play it alone. That's the beauty of detachment. It doesn't require revenge. It just requires discipline. The discipline to not explain, the strength to not react, the self-respect to walk away without the need to slam the door. And while they're out there poking around for a reaction, liking old posts, copying your playlists, posting fake, happy stories, you're over here, glowing in silence. You don't owe them anything, not an explanation, not a reply, not another ounce of emotional labor. The version of you they had, that version was love in its purest form, and they burned it for the thrill of attention. And now, they're not facing your rage, they're facing your absence. And that hurts way more. So if you feel this in your bones, if you've detached with grace, with power, with sacred stillness, drop this in the comments right now. Detachment is my power. Say it for every time they made you doubt your worth. Say it for the nights you cried into your own silence. Say it for the future version of you that will never chase chaos again. Number 7. The new you isn't a glow-up. It's a lockout. He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive. Let me break that down for you, my friends, because this isn't just philosophy. This is your reality. This isn't about death in the literal sense. This is about letting the old you die, the version of you that kept the door open, the version that begged, the version that made excuses for their silence, their betrayal, their disrespect. That version, gone, buried, not in bitterness, but in rebirth. Because your transformation isn't a glow-up, it's a lockout. They thought this was about getting your revenge. They thought you were posting to make them jealous. They thought you were dressing up, glowing up, and moving up just to get a reaction. But here's the part that slaps them in the chest every single day. You're not doing this for them. You're doing it like they never even existed, and that is what kills them. This wasn't about being seen, it was about becoming unreachable. You didn't evolve to show them what they lost. You evolved because you finally realized what you were losing, yourself. And now that you've stopped reaching out, stopped checking, stopped explaining, stopped waiting, they feel it. Not through your words, but through your absence. Not through your rage, but through your indifference. Not through a storm, but through your stillness. They don't know how to process this version of you, the one who doesn't text back, doesn't react, doesn't show up anymore with your heart in your hands, and they're panicking but hiding it behind living their best life posts and fake laughs. They're crumbling but pretending to glow. They're grieving but calling it growth. Why? Because they've been locked out and they know it. No access, no connection, no key, not even a crack in the door to slide back in. And that's when the regret sets in. That's when they start realizing the glow-up wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. You didn't just change your look, you changed your energy, your standards, your damn frequency. You're not the warm, open-hearted sanctuary they took for granted. You're the fortress now, guarded, focused, untouchable. And what's wild is they thought they could always come back, because you always did. Until one day, you didn't. No fight, no announcement, no grand finale, just gone. And that's what haunts them now, the quiet ending. They thought they had time. They thought you were a forever option. But all they ever were was temporary. And now that truth is screaming back at them with every unanswered message and every empty inbox. You're not chasing peace anymore. You've become it. You're not searching for closure. You've created it. You're not looking for someone to see your worth. You're living like it's undeniable. Because here's the truth they'll choke on in silence. They never thought you'd stop needing them. They never thought you'd stop loving them. They never thought you'd stop waiting. But now you're gone, and the door is sealed shut. Not because you're angry, but because you're awake. So if you've built a version of yourself that they no longer recognize, if you've gone silent not out of spite, but because you've finally learned how to protect your peace, drop this in the comments right now. I'm untouchable now. Say it like a promise. Say it for the old you who cracked every time they walked away. Say it for the new you who doesn't even flinch when they whisper your name. And here's the truth to wrap this up. You weren't reborn to be bitter. You were reborn to be unreachable to the people who made you question your worth, your silence, your glow, your peace. It's not a performance. It's power. They thought you'd stay forever. Now they can't even reach you. So if this message hit your soul, if you felt that shift inside you, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment right now. I don't go back. Because your future doesn't include their access. And that's the real glow up.